Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Lily, and if you're tuning in for the very first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. You are in the right place. Before we dive into today's episode, I just want to take a quick second to say, if this show has ever helped you, please share it with someone who could use it too. Sharing really does mean the world to me, and it helps this little podcast reach more people who are working hard to level up their English every single day. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. That way, you'll never miss a new episode, and trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming. Also, I want to make sure you know about the podcast playlist. Yes, there is an entire playlist dedicated to this show, packed with episodes just like this one. Go check out the podcast playlist for more videos. The link is right there in the description. Scroll down, tap it, and keep the learning going even after this episode ends. Okay, with all of that said, let's get into today's episode. And honestly, I think this one is going to be a game changer for a lot of you. I really mean that. Today, we're talking about how to speak advanced English in everyday life. Not textbook English, not test English, real, natural, fluent, confident English. The kind of English that turns heads in a conversation. The kind that makes people say, "Wow, you speak so well." The kind that opens doors professionally and personally. And here's the thing, it's not as complicated as you might think. In fact, most of the changes are surprisingly small, but the impact? Massive. Absolutely massive. So grab something to drink, get comfortable, and let's take this journey together. I'm going to walk you through everything step by step with tons of examples and practice. All right, let's start at the very beginning, because I think a lot of people have a misconception about what advanced English actually is. Let me clear that up right away. Advanced English is not about using the biggest, most complicated vocabulary words you can find in a dictionary. That's actually one of the biggest myths out there. You don't have to say magnificent instead of great to sound advanced. You don't have to use words that even native speakers would have to Google. That's not fluency. What advanced English is about is knowing how to express yourself more fully, more naturally, and more expressively. It's about depth, not just difficulty. Think about it this way. Two people can use the exact same basic vocabulary, but one of them sounds like a beginner and the other sounds completely fluent. What's the difference? The difference is in how they build their sentences, how they connect ideas, how they add emotion, reasoning, and detail to what they're saying. That's the secret. Advanced English is also about choosing the right tone for the right moment, being polite when you need to be, being casual when the moment calls for it, knowing the difference. It's about knowing that saying, "Could I possibly get a cup of coffee?" sounds way more natural in a cafe than just walking up and saying, "Coffee, one, please," right? And it's about having the confidence to speak freely, without second-guessing every word, without freezing up, without translating in your head before every sentence. That's what I want to help you build today. Confidence, expressiveness, fluency, real English that works in real life, not just in a classroom or on a practice test. So as we go through today's episode, I want you to keep that in mind. We're not just learning new phrases, we're reshaping the way you think about communication in English. That mindset shift alone, moving from "what words do I know" to "how can I express this more fully," is honestly the biggest leap you can make as an English learner. Okay, let's start with something super relatable, your morning. Because mornings are full of little conversations, and those little conversations are the perfect practice ground. Let's say you wake up and someone asks you, "How did you sleep?" In basic English, you might say something like, "It was fine," or "good," or "okay." We've all done it. But in advanced English, in natural, fluent English, you can say so much more. And here's the beautiful thing. It doesn't require complicated words at all. I slept pretty well overall, though I did wake up once around 3 in the morning for no real reason. Still felt rested by the time my alarm went off. Did you hear the difference? Same basic idea. You slept okay. But now there's texture, there's detail, there's personality. That's what makes it sound advanced and natural. Here's another morning example. Someone asks what you had for breakfast. Basic answer. I had eggs, which is perfectly fine, but we can do better. And here's how. Try. I made myself some scrambled eggs with a little black pepper and fresh herbs. I've been trying to eat a proper breakfast lately, and honestly, it makes such a difference. See what happened there? You described the food, you gave a small reason, and you added a personal reflection. 3 small upgrades that completely change the texture of your response. Let's practice that together now. I'm going to give you a basic morning sentence, and then I want you to repeat the advanced version after me out loud. Ready? Let's go. I had coffee. Now say this out loud. I started my morning with a hot cup of freshly brewed coffee. It's kind of become my little ritual. I really need it to properly wake up. I'm tired. Now try. I didn't sleep as well as I would have liked last night, so I'm feeling a bit drained this morning. Hopefully some coffee will help me shake it off. I'm late. Now upgrade it to, I completely lost track of time this morning and ended up running behind. I hate when that happens. I always feel flustered for the rest of the day. Now, I want you to notice something important about all of those upgraded sentences. None of them used a single fancy vocabulary word. Everything there is simple, everyday English. The magic is in the structure, adding a reason, adding a feeling, adding a detail, adding a personal touch. That's the recipe. And once you start using it, you won't stop. Let's keep going with the morning scenario. Imagine you're getting ready and someone asks, "What are you doing today?" Basic answer, working. Or maybe, "I have meetings." Fine. But try this. I've got a pretty busy day ahead, a couple of meetings in the morning, and then I need to finish up a report I've been putting off all week, hoping to wrap up early though. That sentence gives the listener something to respond to. It creates connection. It invites conversation. And that's exactly what advanced English should do. Open doors, not close them. Here's a quick challenge for you. Tomorrow morning, before you say anything to anyone, pause for just 2 seconds and ask yourself, can I add one more detail to what I'm about to say? Just one more detail. That's it. You'll be amazed at how quickly that habit starts to transform the way you speak. Small habit, big results. I promise you that. Let's move into more home scenarios, because your home is honestly one of the best practice environments you have. You're relaxed, comfortable, and conversations happen naturally. Imagine you're cooking something. Someone walks in and asks, "What are you making?" The basic answer, soup, or maybe chicken. Easy, simple, but not very engaging. I'm making a slow-cooked chicken stew. I've been wanting to try this recipe for a while, and I finally had all the ingredients today. Smells amazing already. 3 things happened in that response. You named the dish more specifically, you gave a little backstory, and you added a sensory detail, the smell. That's advanced communication. Let's practice a few kitchen upgrades. I'm hungry. Try, I've been so busy I completely forgot to eat, and now I'm absolutely starving. I need to find something to eat right now. This is good. Try, oh, this turned out really well. I wasn't sure about the seasoning at first, but I think I got the balance just right. I'll definitely make this again. I can't cook. Try, Cooking has never really been my strong suit, but lately I've been trying to learn a few basics. It's actually kind of fun once you get the hang of it. Notice how each of those responses tells a little story. There's a beginning, a situation, a middle, your reaction or feeling, and sometimes a little resolution or reflection at the end. That many-story structure is incredibly powerful in conversation. People naturally connect with stories, no matter how small they are. Even a sentence about soup can be a micro-story. All right, let's talk about some other common home moments, like when something goes wrong, which, let's be honest, happens all the time. Advanced English handles it gracefully. I broke it. I accidentally knocked it off the counter and it completely shattered. I felt terrible about it. It's been in the family for years. Total accident, though. I forgot. It completely slipped my mind. I had every intention of doing it, but the day got away from me. I'll make sure it gets done first thing tomorrow morning. I'm busy. I've got a lot on my plate right now. I'm juggling a few different things at once, but I'm managing. Just need to stay organized and take it one step at a time. Each of these upgrades shows emotional awareness. You're not just reporting facts, you're sharing your experience. And that's what fluent, natural English sounds like in real life. The home is also where a lot of discussions and decisions happen. Things like planning a trip, deciding on dinner, or talking about a problem. These conversations need nuance. Instead of saying, let's go out for dinner, try, I was thinking maybe we could go out tonight. I'm not really in the mood to cook. Is there anywhere you've been wanting to try lately? See how that version invites the other person into the conversation? That's a key feature of advanced English. It's not just about what you say, it's about how you include others. This next section is one of my absolute favorites, and I think it might be one of the most impactful things we covered today: how to express emotions in advanced English. Most learners know a handful of emotion words: happy, sad, angry, scared, excited. And while those are perfectly correct, they're like stick figures. They work, but they have no detail. Advanced English lets you paint a full portrait of how you feel. Not just I'm happy, but the specific flavor of happiness: relieved, thrilled, content, at peace, overjoyed. And not just I'm sad, but the texture of sadness: drained, disappointed, a bit down, melancholy, emotionally overwhelmed. All of these are different. They tell different stories. Let's practice. I'll give you the basic version first, then the advanced version. Please say the advanced version out loud. I really want you to hear it in your own voice. I'm happy. Advanced. I've been in such a genuinely good mood lately. Everything just feels lighter somehow, and I think it's because I've been making more time for the things I love. I'm sad. I've been feeling a bit low lately, to be honest. I can't fully explain it, but there's just been this heaviness that I'm trying to work through one day at a time. I'm angry. Advanced. I was genuinely frustrated with how the situation was handled. It felt unfair and a little disrespectful, and I needed some time to calm down and process it properly. I'm scared. Advanced. Honestly, the whole thing made me pretty anxious. It's stepping into territory I've never navigated before, and the uncertainty is what gets to me the most. I'm excited. I'm genuinely thrilled about this. It's something I've been looking forward to for such a long time, and now that it's finally happening, I can barely contain myself. Did you feel the difference when you said those out loud? They don't just state an emotion, they communicate an experience, and that's what makes people truly connect with what you're saying. Here's a tip for building emotional vocabulary. Whenever you feel a strong emotion, try to describe it in at least 3 sentences in English. Don't just name it, explain it. Say where it's coming from. Say how it feels in your body. Say how it's affecting your day. This exercise, even if you only do it in your head, will rapidly expand your emotional fluency. Let's try a few more. Basic, I'm proud. Advanced, I'm really proud of what I managed to pull off. It took a lot of effort and several setbacks along the way, but seeing the final result made it worth every bit. I'm nervous. I'll admit, I've been feeling a little on edge about the whole thing. There's a lot riding on it, and I just want to make sure I give it everything I've got. I'm bored. Advanced? I've been feeling a bit restless lately. Like I need something new to sink my teeth into. A project or a challenge that genuinely gets me interested and engaged. These kinds of descriptions don't just inform the listener, they invite empathy. They make people feel closer to you, and that's one of the greatest powers of advanced English. Okay, we need to talk about idioms because native English speakers use idioms constantly in casual conversation, at work, in stories, and knowing them is a huge part of sounding fluent. An idiom is a phrase where the meaning isn't obvious from the individual words. Like if someone says, I hit the sack, they don't mean they literally punched a bag. They mean they went to bed. Idioms paint pictures. They make language colorful, vivid, and alive. When you use them naturally, people immediately sense that you're not just learning English, you're living in it. Let me walk you through some of the most commonly used idioms in everyday life. I'll explain what each one means, and then we'll practice using it in a sentence together. Under the weather. This means you're feeling a bit sick or not quite yourself. You'd use it instead of saying, I'm not feeling well. Example, I skipped the gym today, then feeling a bit under the weather. Hit the sack. This means to go to bed. You'd say it when you're tired and ready to sleep. Example, I was so exhausted after work. I came home, had a quick dinner, and just hit the sack by 9. Not my cup of tea. This means something isn't really to your liking or preference. Example, I watched that thriller everyone was talking about, but honestly, it wasn't really my cup of tea. Too intense for me. A bit of a roller coaster. This describes something with lots of ups and downs, emotionally or situationally. Example, this month has been a bit of a roller coaster. Things keep swinging from great to stressful and back again. Hang in there. This is encouragement you give to someone who's going through a tough time. It means to keep going and not give up. Example, I know things are rough right now, but hang in there. It will get better. On the same page, this means two people understand each other and agree on something. Example, before we start the project, I want to make sure we're all on the same page about the goals and timeline. Go the extra mile. This means doing more than what's expected or required. Example, what I love about this team is that everyone goes the extra mile. Nobody ever does the bare minimum and leaves it at that. Let the cat out of the bag. This means accidentally revealing a secret. Example, I almost let the cat out of the bag about the surprise party. I have to be so much more careful around her from now on. In the same boat. This means being in the same difficult situation as someone else. Example, I was struggling with the assignment too, so don't feel bad. We're all in the same boat on this one. Bite the bullet. This means to endure a painful or difficult situation without complaining. Example, I didn't want to have that difficult conversation, but sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and say what needs to be said. Now, a word of advice on idioms. Please don't try to use all of them at once. That will sound unnatural. Instead, pick 2 or 3 that resonate with you and start using just those consistently. Once those feel natural and automatic, add a few more. Build your idiom vocabulary slowly and organically. Over time, you'll have a rich collection that flows naturally into your speech. Let's do a practice round. I'll say a basic sentence and you repeat the idiom version after me. Ready? Basic. I'm tired and going to bed. Idiom version. I'm completely wiped out. I'm going to hit the sack early tonight. I'm not feeling well. Idiom version. I've been feeling a bit under the weather all day, so I'm going to take it easy and rest up this evening. This month was hard. Idiom version. This month has honestly been a bit of a roller coaster. There were some real highs, but also a lot of really draining moments in between. Excellent! You're doing really well. Let's keep this momentum going and move into one of the most important areas of everyday English, work and professional conversations. All right, let's talk about the workplace, because for a lot of us, this is where the pressure to speak well in English is the highest. Meetings, emails, presentations, the stakes feel real. And here's the thing about professional English. It's not about being stiff or overly formal. It's about being clear, respectful, and thoughtful. It's about sounding like someone people can rely on. Let's start with one of the most common workplace moments, receiving a compliment or positive feedback. Someone says, "You did great work on that." Basic response, "Thanks." Fine, but we can do better. Try this. "Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I put a lot of thought into it, and I'm glad it came together well. It was a great learning experience for me." That's warm, professional, and memorable. Now let's talk about how to respond when you don't understand something. Basic. I don't understand, which is fine, but there are more professional ways to express this. Try. I want to make sure I'm following this correctly. Would you mind clarifying that last part? I don't want to proceed without a clear understanding of what's expected here. Or, that's slightly unclear to me. Could you walk me through that once more? I just want to make sure I've got it right before we move forward. Both of those sound professional and humble. What about when you're asked a question and you don't know the answer? Basic. I don't know, which again is fine, but in a professional context, it can sound unprepared or dismissive. That's a great question. I don't have the exact answer off the top of my head, but I'll look into it and get back to you by the end of the day. Would that work for you? Did you hear how that response showed accountability, initiative, and respect? All without pretending to know something you don't. That's emotional intelligence and professional English. Let's practice a few more professional phrases. Basic. I agree. Professional upgrade. That aligns completely with my thinking. I think it's a solid approach, and I'm fully on board with moving forward in that direction. I disagree. Professional upgrade. I see where you're coming from, though I have some reservations about this approach. Could I share a few concerns before we finalize anything? Can we meet? Professional upgrade. Would you have some availability this week for a quick catch-up? I'd love to go over a few things with you when you have a moment. I'll do it. Professional upgrade. I'll take ownership of that and make sure it gets done. I'll keep you updated on my progress and flag anything that needs your input along the way. Let's also talk about meeting language, because meetings are where a lot of professional English happens, and knowing the right phrases gives you an instant credibility boost. To build on what you said, use this when you want to add to someone else's point without interrupting the flow. Example, to build on what Sarah said, I think we should also consider the timeline. I'd like to circle back to that. Use this when you want to revisit a topic later. Example, That's an important point. I'd like to circle back to it after we've covered the main agenda items. Let's table that for now. This means let's set this aside and return to it later. Example, we could go back and forth on this for a while. Let's table it for now and revisit it next week. Moving forward, this phrase signals a transition or resolution. Example, moving forward, I think we should adopt a more structured approach to how we manage these client interactions. I'd just like to flag that. This is a polite way to raise a concern or bring something important to the group's attention without sounding alarmist or accusatory. These professional expressions will serve you incredibly well in any English-speaking workplace. Practice them until they feel second nature. That's when real professional fluency kicks in. Now let's shift to something that a lot of English learners find surprisingly difficult: small talk, the casual, light, social conversations that happen everywhere, every single day. Small talk can feel intimidating because there are no rules, no right answers, and it moves fast. But once you know the patterns, it becomes one of the most enjoyable parts of speaking English. Small talk usually happens in 3 stages: an opener, something to start the conversation; a bridge, something to keep it going; and a closer, something to wrap it up gracefully. Let's start with openers. The most common small talk opener is, "How are you?" And while the basic answer is, "Fine, thanks," advanced English gives you so much more to work with here. Try. "Doing really well. Thank you for asking. It's been a busy week, but a good one. How about yourself?" That's engaging, positive, and it immediately opens the door for them to share too. Or if it genuinely hasn't been a great week: "Honestly, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. Lots going on, but I'm managing. How have you been holding up?" Real, relatable, and still conversational. Now let's talk about bridges, keeping the conversation going. The secret here is to ask follow-up questions and make observations. Never let the conversation die with a one-word answer. If someone says they went to a wedding over the weekend, don't just say, "Oh, nice." Instead say, "Oh, that sounds fun. Whose wedding was it?" I feel like weddings are always such a good time. If someone mentions they've been really busy, don't just nod. Say, "I totally get that. What's been keeping you the most occupied lately? Work stuff or more personal things going on?" The art of small talk is really the art of being genuinely curious. Ask follow-up questions. Reflect back what people say. Show that you're actually listening and interested. It shows. Now for closers, gracefully ending a conversation. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They don't know how to exit a conversation without it feeling abrupt or rude. Try. "It's been so lovely catching up with you. We should do this more often. I hope the rest of your week goes smoothly." Or, "I should probably get going, but this has been a great chat. Take care of yourself and let's catch up again soon." Let's practice a full mini social conversation now. Someone approaches you and says, "Hey, haven't seen you in ages. How have you been?" Let's craft the perfect advanced response. You could say, "Oh my goodness, it really has been a while. I've been doing really well, keeping busy with work mostly, but also trying to carve out more time for myself lately. How about you?" They reply, "I've been good. Just got back from a little trip, actually." You respond, "Oh, how exciting! Where did you go? I love hearing about people's travels. It always makes me want to plan my own." That's a natural, warm, flowing conversation. No big words, no fancy grammar, just thoughtful, interested, expressive communication. That's advanced English in social settings. Beautiful. Now let's practice introducing yourself in more engaging ways. Basic: "I'm a teacher." Advanced: "I work as a teacher. I've been teaching for about 6 years now, and I genuinely love what I do." Basic: "I'm from Mumbai." Advanced: "I grew up in Mumbai. It's such a vibrant, chaotic, wonderful city. I've been living abroad for a few years, but it'll always feel like home to me. Basic. I like music. Advanced. Music is a huge part of my life. I listen to it constantly, everything from jazz to indie pop. There's something about music that just instantly shifts my mood. This section is so important because the ability to respectfully disagree is one of the most underrated communication skills there is. And in English, it has a whole set of beautiful tools. In many cultures, direct disagreement can feel uncomfortable or even rude. And in English, there's a whole vocabulary designed to soften disagreement while still being honest. Let's explore it. The key principle is this. Before you disagree, acknowledge the other person's perspective. Validate that you heard them, even if you don't agree. This keeps the conversation civil and productive. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," try, "That's an interesting perspective." That's an interesting perspective. I actually see it a bit differently, though. Can I share my take on it? Much softer, but still assertive. Instead of, "I don't agree with you," try, "I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate your viewpoint, but I have to be honest. I'm not fully convinced by that argument just yet." Instead of, "That's not right," try, "I wonder if there's another way to look at this. From where I'm standing, the situation seems a little different. Let me explain my reasoning." These phrases are powerful because they keep the door open. They say, "I disagree, but I still respect you, and I'm still willing to have this conversation." That's emotional maturity in language form. Let's practice a few opinion-sharing phrases too. Instead of, "I think this is good," try, "My feeling on this is that it's a strong approach. I think it addresses the core issue quite effectively." Instead of, "I like this idea," try, "I'm genuinely enthusiastic about this direction. It feels fresh and well thought out, and I think it has a real chance of making an impact." And when you're not sure about something, instead of, "I don't know," try, "I have mixed feelings about this one, to be honest. There are aspects I really like, but a few things I'd want to think through more carefully." Let's try a real-world scenario. Someone at a dinner party says they think social media is completely harmless. You disagree. How do you respond in advanced, polite English? You could say, "I get that perspective, and there's definitely a lot of good that comes from social media. But I do think there are some real downsides worth considering, especially around mental health." Or, "That's an interesting take. I think it really depends on how you use it and at what age. For some people, it's genuinely connecting and positive, but for others, it can be pretty damaging." Both of those responses are honest, they're nuanced, and they invite further discussion. That's exactly what you want in a conversation about a complex topic. That's real intellectual fluency. Practice exercise. Think of an opinion you hold strongly. Now practice expressing it in 3 different ways. One direct, one with a qualifier, and one that invites dialogue. This builds incredible flexibility. Let's talk about one of the most powerful and underutilized skills in language learning, storytelling. Because storytelling is how humans connect. It's how we share experience and meaning. When you become a good storyteller in English, everything changes. Conversations become richer. People lean in when you speak. They remember what you said. You become memorable. Good storytelling in English has 3 components. Setting the scene. Where are we? When is this? What's the context? What actually happened? And the reflection, what it meant. Let me show you what I mean. Basic story. I went to the park. It was nice. That's the whole story. 2 sentences, very little texture, not much for the listener to hold on to. Advanced version. I decided to take a long walk through the park yesterday afternoon. The weather was perfect. That kind of crisp, clear day that just makes you feel awake and alive. Continuing, I ended up sitting by the lake for a while, just watching the ducks and letting my mind wander. It was exactly the kind of reset I didn't know I needed. I came home feeling so much better. Do you see the difference? The advanced version has texture, sensation, emotion, and meaning. You can picture it. You can almost feel it. That's what great storytelling does. It creates an experience. Let me give you another example. Basic. I had a hard day at work. Now let's expand that into a proper story. Advanced. Work was genuinely exhausting today. I went in already running on very little sleep, and then the morning just kind of snowballed from there. One thing after another kept going wrong. Continuing the story, by lunchtime I was running on fumes, and I still had a 2-hour presentation to get through in the afternoon. Somehow I pulled it together, but by the time I got home, I was absolutely done. That story has tension, progression, and resolution. The listener is with you the whole time. They understand not just what happened, but how it felt. That's powerful communication. Let's practice some storytelling transitions, the words and phrases that connect moments in a story and keep it flowing naturally. These are the glue that holds everything together. It all started when, a classic way to open a story. It all started when I got a phone call from my sister out of the blue. I hadn't heard from her in weeks, so I knew something was up. The next thing I knew, great for showing how quickly things moved or changed. I sat down for just a quick break, and the next thing I knew, 3 hours had completely gone by. At that point, I realized I had been approaching the whole thing completely wrong. It was a bit of a light bulb moment. Looking back on it now, a great way to add reflection at the end of a story. Looking back on it now, I actually think that setback was one of the best things that could have happened to me. Practice exercise for you. Take something that happened to you this week, anything, and tell the story out loud using at least 3 of those storytelling transitions, start to finish. Don't worry about it. The goal is to get comfortable stringing moments together in English. The more you practice, the more instinctive and fluent it will become over time. All right, let's move into phone conversation skills, because talking on the phone in English can feel incredibly nerve-wracking. You can't rely on facial expressions or body language for help. But the good news is that phone conversations follow patterns. Once you know those patterns and have the right phrases ready, your phone confidence will skyrocket. I promise you that. Let's start with how to open a phone call professionally. Basic. Hello, is Maria there? That works, but here's an upgrade. Good morning. This is Lilly calling. I was hoping to speak with Maria if she's available. Notice 3 things in that advanced version. You identified yourself first, you used a polite phrase, I was hoping to, and you added a condition, if she's available, which shows consideration for their time. Let's practice a few more phone openers. I'm calling to check on the status of my application. Upgrade. Hi, I'm calling to follow up on an application I submitted recently. I wanted to check if there's any update. Basic. I want to make an appointment. Upgrade. I'd like to schedule an appointment, please. Could you let me know what availability you have this week? I'm fairly flexible with timing. Basic. I'll call back later. Upgrade. I'll try reaching back a bit later in the day. Could you let him know I called? I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Polished, considerate, memorable. Now let's talk about what to do when you don't understand something on the phone. This happens to everyone. The line is unclear or someone speaks too fast. Here's what to say. I'm so sorry. Could you repeat that? The line is a little unclear on my end. That's polite and natural. Or, forgive me, could you speak just a bit more slowly? I want to make sure I catch everything. Could you spell that out for me, please? I just want to make sure I have it written down correctly. Very common on professional calls and completely normal to ask. No need to feel embarrassed. And for wrapping up a phone call. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your help today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Warm, professional, and leaves a great impression. Or, this has been really helpful. I'll follow up with you by email to confirm the details. Thanks again and have a great afternoon. Shows follow-through, professionalism, and genuine warmth. Now let's talk about travel, because traveling in an English-speaking environment is one of the most exciting and sometimes most stressful places to test your English skills. The good news is that people traveling are generally very patient and kind when it comes to language. But knowing the right phrases still makes everything smoother, easier, and more enjoyable. Let's start with the airport. You're at check-in and the staff member says, "Can I see your passport and booking confirmation?" Basic response, "Yes, here." Advanced, "Of course. Here's my passport and I have the booking on my phone." If you need to ask something at the airport, instead of, "Where is my gate?" try, "Excuse me, could you help me find my gate? I'm flying to London and I want to make sure I'm heading in the right direction." At the hotel check-in, instead of, "I have a reservation," try, "Good evening. I have a reservation under the name Lilly. I was hoping to check in if everything is ready on your end." If you want an early check-in, don't just demand it. Ask gracefully. "I know check-in isn't until 3, but I was wondering if there's any chance my room might be ready a little earlier. I completely understand if not." That last phrase, "I completely understand if not," is magic. It softens the request, shows humility, and makes people want to help you. It's one of the most useful phrases in advanced English. Let's practice asking for directions. Instead of, "Where is the train station?" try, "Excuse me, I'm a little turned around. Could you point me toward the train station? I'd really appreciate it." Instead of, "I'm trying to get to the city center from here. Is there a bus or tram I should be looking for? Or would you recommend another way?" When ordering food in a restaurant abroad, instead of, "I want this," try, "I'd love to try this, please. And could you tell me, is this dish spicy? I just want to know what to expect." Adding questions to your order shows genuine curiosity and engagement, not just needs fulfillment. It turns a transaction into a moment of connection, which is always a beautiful thing. What if something goes wrong during your travels? Maybe your room isn't as described, or there's an issue with your booking. Here's how to handle it gracefully in advanced English. Instead of, "This isn't right," "I just wanted to bring something to your attention. The room I was assigned seems to be different from what I booked. Could we take a moment to look into this together?" That phrasing is calm, solution-focused, and non-confrontational. It's much more likely to get a positive response than something direct or frustrated, even if you have every right to be frustrated. Let's spend some time on one of the most feel-good parts of advanced English, expressing gratitude and giving compliments. These are moments that build relationships and warm hearts. In basic English, gratitude sounds like, "Thank you," or "Thanks a lot," which are perfectly fine. But in advanced English, gratitude has texture, specificity, and warmth that goes so much deeper. Try, "I honestly can't express how much I appreciate this. It means more to me than you probably realize." That's not just saying thank you. It's acknowledging the weight and value of what someone did. Or, "I'm really touched by your kindness. You didn't have to do this, and the fact that you did says so much about you. I'll remember this." That kind of gratitude leaves a lasting impression. Let's practice a few gratitude upgrades. Basic. Thanks for helping. Advanced. I genuinely couldn't have done this without you. Your help made such a difference, and I want you to know that I truly appreciate it. Basic. Thank you for the gift. Advanced. This is so thoughtful. Well, you really didn't need to, but I'm so glad you did. I can tell you put real care into choosing this. It's absolutely lovely. Thanks for listening. Advanced. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Sometimes you just need someone to hear you out, and knowing you're that person for me means more than I can say. Now for compliments. The secret to an advanced compliment is specificity. Generic compliments like, "You're amazing," are nice, but specific ones are unforgettable. They show you actually noticed something. Instead of, "You look nice," try, "That outfit is such a great choice. The colors you've paired together are really striking." It gives you such a put-together yet effortless look. Instead of, "Good job," try, "The way you handled that situation was really impressive. You stayed calm under pressure and navigated it with a kind of grace I genuinely admire." And here's an important tip. When you receive a compliment, don't just deflect it with, "Oh no, not really." That can actually feel dismissive to the person who gave it. Accept it gracefully. "Thank you. That's really kind of you to say. It means a lot coming from you." Or, "That's so nice to hear. Thank you. I wasn't sure how it would land, so I'm glad it came across well." Now, let's talk about something a little more delicate. How to express disappointment or dissatisfaction in advanced English. Because sometimes things don't go as planned, and you need to say so. The goal isn't to be silent or fake positivity. That's not healthy or authentic. The goal is to express genuine feelings clearly and respectfully, without being harsh or hurtful. Basic. I have to be honest, this didn't quite meet my expectations. I was hoping for something a bit more polished, and I think with a little more attention, it could be so much better. Basic. I'm not happy. Advanced. I'll be transparent with you. I'm a little disappointed with how this turned out. It's not what we discussed, and I'd really like for us to address that together. Basic. This is boring. Advanced. I found it a little hard to stay engaged with, honestly. I kept waiting for it to pick up, but it didn't quite manage to hold my attention the way I'd hoped it would. Basic. I don't like this. Advanced. This isn't really my style, if I'm being honest. It doesn't feel like a great fit for me, but I can see how it would appeal to someone with different taste. Notice how all of those advanced versions include something important: a reason, a comparison to expectation, or an acknowledgement that this is a personal feeling, not an objective verdict. That distinction is really important in advanced English. Saying, "I found it underwhelming," is different from saying, "This is terrible." One is personal experience. The other is a harsh judgment. In customer service situations, instead of, "This is wrong," try, "I wanted to mention that what I received doesn't quite match what I was expecting based on the description. Could we look at this together?" In personal relationships, instead of, "You hurt me," try, "I want to be open with you about something. What happened the other day left me feeling a bit hurt, and I think we need to talk about it." Both of those examples are honest, direct, and respectful. They express real feelings without attacking the other person. That is the gold standard of emotional communication in advanced English. Let's talk about apologizing, because a well-delivered apology is one of the most powerful things you can say in English, and a poorly delivered one can do more damage than no apology at all. A great apology in English has 3 parts. First, acknowledgement. You name what happened. Second, accountability. You accept responsibility without making excuses. Third, resolution. What you'll do going forward. Basic. Sorry I'm late. Advanced. I sincerely apologize for keeping you waiting. I got caught up in traffic and didn't anticipate it taking this long. I really should have left earlier. Thank you for your patience. Notice. Acknowledgement. I got caught up. Accountability. I should have left earlier. And resolution. All three parts naturally woven together. Basic. Sorry for missing the meeting. Advanced. I owe you a genuine apology for missing the meeting. It wasn't my intention, and I understand it created extra work for the rest of the team. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Basic. Sorry, I forgot. Advanced. I'm truly sorry, it slipped my mind. I know you were counting on me, and I let you down on that. Can you tell me how I can make it right? I want to fix this. Notice that last one ends with a question. Can you tell me how I can make it right? That's incredibly powerful. It shows that the apology isn't just words. There's a genuine desire to repair things. Let's also talk about how to accept an apology gracefully. Basic. It's okay, which is fine, but in advanced English, you can be more authentic about what the experience meant to you. Try. I really appreciate you saying that. It did affect me, but I know it wasn't intentional, and I'm happy to move forward from here. That response is honest, forgiving, and mature all at once. Or, in lighter situations, don't even worry about it. These things happen. I appreciate you reaching out. It means a lot. Casual, warm, and completely takes the weight off the other person. Now let's get into giving advice and making suggestions. Another area where advanced English really shines, because the way you phrase advice makes all the difference in how it's received. The challenge with giving advice is that if it's too direct, it can sound bossy or presumptuous, like you think you know better. Advanced English has elegant ways to share wisdom without those pitfalls. Instead of, you should do this, try, if I were in your position, I might consider doing it this way, but of course, you know your situation far better than I do. Humble, helpful, not preachy. Instead of, you need to stop doing that, try, I wonder if it might be worth stepping back from that for a while and seeing how it feels. Sometimes, a little distance gives you a clearer perspective. Instead of do it like this, try, one approach that's worked really well for me in a similar situation was doing it this way. It might not be the right fit for you, but it could be worth exploring. These frames, I wonder if, it might be worth, one approach that worked for me, are called hedging language. They soften the advice and position it as a possibility, not a command. But here's an important balance. Sometimes directness is appropriate and needed. If a friend is in a genuinely harmful situation, being too soft can be unhelpful. Context always matters. In those cases, you can be caring and direct at the same time. I care about you, and because I do, I want to be honest with you. I'm concerned about the direction this is heading, and I think you need to hear that. That's not bossy, that's love expressed through honesty. And in English, framing advice with care and context always makes it land better, even when it's tough to hear. Let's practice a few advice-giving scenarios. A friend is stressed about work. Instead of, just relax, try, it sounds like you really need a proper break. Even just a weekend completely unplugged might do wonders for your perspective. A colleague made a mistake. Instead of, don't do that again, try, these things happen. What matters is what we do next. Let's figure out how to address this and put some measures in place so it doesn't recur. A family member is making a decision you're worried about. Try, I want to support whatever you decide, and I also want to make sure you've thought through all of the potential outcomes. Have you considered what might happen if? One of the most common conversation topics anywhere in the world is this. What are your plans? What do you want to do? Where are you headed? And in English, there are so many rich ways to answer. Basic. I will travel next year. Advanced. I've been putting together a rough travel plan for next year. I've always wanted to explore Southeast Asia, and I think I'm finally at a point where I can make it happen. Basic. I want a new job. Advanced. I've been giving a lot of thought to my career lately, and I've realized I want to move into a role that challenges me more and aligns with my long-term goals. Basic. I want to learn to cook. Advanced. I've decided I really want to get more comfortable in the kitchen. I've been watching a lot of cooking videos, and I'm thinking of taking a short class to build some foundations. Notice what each of those advanced versions does. It gives a reason, a backstory, or a plan. It shows that the goal is real and thought out, not just a casual wish. That's what makes it feel authentic. Let's also practice some useful phrases for talking about goals and aspirations. One of my main priorities right now is great opener that signals importance and intentionality. Example, one of my main priorities right now is getting fitter and healthier. I've been making some lifestyle changes, and I'm already feeling the difference, which is really motivating. Something I've been working toward. This implies ongoing effort and progress. Example, something I've been working toward for a while is becoming more financially literate. It's such an important skill, and I've been learning a lot. I'm hoping to. Softer. Will. Example, I'm hoping to wrap up this project before the end of the month so I can take a proper break and recharge before the next one starts. In the long run, I'd love to. Great for talking about bigger, longer-term dreams. Example, in the long run, I'd love to live abroad for a year. Not forever, just long enough to really immerse myself in a different culture and language. These phrases give your future talk a sense of thoughtfulness and realism. They show that you're not just dreaming, you're actually planning, considering, and moving towards something meaningful. Personal development is a huge topic in modern conversation. Whether you're in a job interview, a therapy session, a life coaching call, or just chatting with a thoughtful friend over coffee. Knowing how to talk about yourself, your growth, your struggles, and your progress is incredibly valuable. It shows self-awareness, which is genuinely admired across all contexts. Let's start with how to talk about habits. Basic. I wake up early. Advanced. I've made it a priority to get up early each morning, usually around 6. It gives me a quiet hour before the world wakes up, and I find it sets the tone for my whole day. Basic. I meditate. Advanced. I've been incorporating meditation into my morning routine for about 6 months now. It's been a game changer for managing stress and staying centered throughout the day. Basic. I exercise. Advanced. Staying active is something I've become pretty intentional about. I try to move my body at least 4 times a week, whether that's a gym session, a run, or even just a long walk. Now let's talk about how to describe personal growth and change. This is especially useful in interviews, but also in genuine conversations where you want to reflect honestly on your journey. Instead of, I changed, try, over the past couple of years, I've done a lot of work on myself. I've become more patient, more self-aware, and much better at navigating difficult situations without shutting down. Instead of, I learned from my mistakes, try, that period taught me a lot about my own patterns and tendencies. I came out of it with a much clearer understanding of what I want and how I operate. Instead of, I'm working on myself, try, I'm in a phase of real intentional growth right now. I'm reading more, reflecting more, and trying to be much more deliberate about the choices I make day to day. In a job interview, instead of, I'm good at my job. Try, I've consistently found that I perform best in environments where I can take ownership of projects and see them through from start to finish with a clear sense of purpose. These kinds of reflective, self-aware sentences are not just good English. They're the kind of language that makes people trust you, believe in you, and genuinely want to know more about you. All right, this is one of my favorite sections. We're going to bring everything together with some full conversation scenarios. I'll walk you through each one so you can see how all these elements work in practice. Scenario 1. Catching up with a friend you haven't seen in a while. This is such a common situation, and yet so many learners freeze up because they're not sure how to keep the conversation going. Scenario 1. Catching up with a friend you haven't seen in a while. This is such a common situation, and yet so many learners freeze up because they're not sure how to keep the conversation going. Friend says things have been crazy busy. You respond, I completely understand that feeling. I've been in a similar place. There's been so much going on that I've barely had a moment to breathe lately. Honestly, a mix of things. Work has been pretty intense, but I've been trying to balance it out by making more time for the things that actually fill me up. Like what? They ask. You say, I started taking a ceramics class on weekends, which sounds random, but it's been the most grounding thing. There's something about working with your hands that quiets the mind. See how that conversation flows? It has depth, specificity, humor, and genuine connection. And notice, we never used any difficult vocabulary. This is all everyday language, just used more fully. Scenario 2. A networking event where you're meeting someone in your field for the first time. This one is more formal, but still should feel warm and human, not stiff and corporate. You approach someone and say, Hi, I'm Lilly. I don't think we've met before. I saw your name on the attendee list, and I've been hoping to connect. I've heard great things about your work. They ask what you do. You say, I'm in content strategy. I work with brands to develop their voice and messaging. I've been in this field for about 5 years, and I still genuinely love the creative problem-solving aspect of it. They mention a challenge they're facing. You say, That's really interesting. I actually ran into something similar about a year ago. What ended up working for us was approaching it from a completely different angle. Would it be helpful to talk through it? That response is generous, experienced, and collegial. It offers value without showing off. That's the tone of professional relationship building in advanced English. Give first, impress second. Scenario 3. A difficult conversation with someone you care about. These are the hardest conversations in any language, but advanced English gives you the tools to navigate them with grace. You need to tell a friend that something they did bothered you. You start. Hey, I've been meaning to talk to you about something. I want to approach it openly because I value our friendship and I don't want anything to fester. You continue. When you said that thing the other day in front of everyone, I know you probably didn't mean anything by it, but it did land a bit hurtfully for me. I wanted to be honest about that. Your friend apologizes. You say, I really appreciate you saying that. I know it wasn't intentional, and I wasn't sure how to bring it up, but I feel so much better having talked about it. Thank you for hearing me out. Every single phrase in that scenario is something you can learn, practice, and use. None of it requires advanced vocabulary. Just thoughtfulness, warmth, and the right structural approach. We are getting close to the end now, but before we wrap up, I want to give you something incredibly practical. A set of daily practice strategies that will actually move the needle on your fluency. Because here's the truth, learning about advanced English is the first step, but transformation only happens through consistent, deliberate practice. One episode, one class, or one book won't do it alone. Strategy 1. The end-of-day recap. Every evening before you go to sleep, spend 5 minutes narrating your day in English. Out loud, not in writing. Out loud, like you're telling a friend. Don't just list what happened. Tell the story. Add feelings, details, reasons. Use at least 3 idioms or advanced phrases you've been practicing. Do this every day for 30 days and watch the transformation. Strategy 2, the 1-sentence upgrade challenge. Every day, take one thing you said or thought in basic English and upgrade it. Write it in your phone. Just 1 sentence. Tiny habit, huge impact over time. Strategy 3, shadow your favorite speakers. Find a podcast, a YouTube channel, or a show where people speak English the way you want to speak. Listen carefully, then repeat exactly, matching rhythm, tone, and expression. Shadowing is one of the most powerful fluency-building techniques in existence. It trains your mouth, your ear, your brain, and your confidence all at the same time. It's like a full-body workout for your English. Strategy 4, the feelings journal. Each day, write or say 2 or 3 sentences about how you're feeling. In advanced English, not just "I'm stressed," but the full, textured description of what's going on inside. This one has a double benefit. It improves your emotional vocabulary in English, and it also helps you process your emotions. It's language practice and self-care at the same time. 2 birds, 1 stone. Strategy 5, conversation simulation. Pick a scenario. A job interview, a first date, a difficult conversation, and role-play it alone, speaking both parts. It feels silly at first. It works incredibly well. These strategies don't require a language partner. They don't require money. They don't require a lot of time. They just require consistency and commitment, which is entirely within your power. And remember, fluency is not a destination. It's a practice. You don't arrive at fluency one day and stop. You keep practicing. Keep expanding, keep refining, and that process, if you embrace it, is actually joyful. I want to take a moment here and zoom out, because we've been talking about phrases and expressions and structures, and all of that is incredibly important. But let me speak to the bigger picture. Language is the medium through which we experience life with others. The quality of our relationships, professional, personal, romantic, casual, is directly shaped by the quality of our communication. When you speak advanced English, you're not just grammatically impressive. You become easier to understand, more trustworthy, more engaging, more relatable, and more capable of genuine connection. You get taken more seriously in professional settings. You build deeper friendships because you can express yourself fully. You navigate conflicts more gracefully because you have the words to do so. People notice. They genuinely notice. The person who articulates their thoughts clearly and warmly, they stand out. Not because they used a big word, but because they made the listener feel truly heard and understood. I've seen this transformation happen in people I know personally. People who came to English as learners and now speak it with such ease and grace that you'd never know it wasn't their first language. And the secret isn't talent, it isn't intelligence, it's consistency and intention. They practiced every day, not perfectly, but persistently. They made mistakes, they kept going, and they got there. You will get there too. I have complete and total faith in that, because the fact that you're here, listening to this, working on your English, committing to this process, that tells me everything I need to know about you. You're the kind of person who doesn't settle for good enough. You want to communicate clearly, confidently, and beautifully, and that desire, that intention, is the most powerful force in your learning journey. Let's do a final round of specific life situations with advanced English because variety in practice is key. The more different contexts you prepare for, the more flexible and fluid your English becomes. Situation: doctor's appointment. Instead of "my stomach hurts," try "I've been experiencing some persistent discomfort in my lower abdomen for about a week now. It's not severe, but it's been noticeable enough to concern me." When the doctor asks if anything makes it worse, it seems to get a bit more uncomfortable after eating, and I've noticed it tends to be worse in the evenings than in the mornings, which is a bit unusual for me. Situation: job interview. Asked about your weakness, instead of "I work too hard," try something honest and advanced. "I've historically been someone who has trouble delegating. I tend to want to handle things myself to ensure quality, but I've been actively working on trusting my team more." Asked about why you want the role. What drew me to this position is the combination of creative challenge and strategic impact. I'm looking for work where I'm not just executing tasks, but genuinely contributing to the bigger vision. Asked about why you want the role. What drew me to this position is the combination of creative challenge and strategic impact. I'm looking for work where I'm not just executing tasks, but genuinely contributing to the bigger vision. Hi, I purchased this about a week ago, and I'm afraid it's not quite working out for me. Is it possible to arrange a return or exchange? Situation: declining a social invitation. Instead of "I can't come," try "I really appreciate the invite and I'm so sorry to miss it. I have a prior commitment that evening, but let's find another time to get together soon." Situation: asking for feedback on your work. Instead of "Is it good?" try "I'd really love your honest thoughts on this. Is there anything you think could be strengthened or approached differently?" I want to make it as strong as possible. I really do hear where you're coming from, and I know it comes from a place of love. I've just thought about it a lot, and I feel like this is the right path for me at this point. Each of those situations requires a slightly different tone, register, and approach. Advanced English gives you the range to navigate all of them without freezing, without translating, and without second-guessing yourself. We said at the beginning that advanced English isn't about big words, and that's true. But it's also true that expanding your vocabulary thoughtfully does add depth to your expression. Let's explore that balance. The key is using richer words when they genuinely add meaning, not just to sound impressive. If a simpler word works just as well, use it. But sometimes there's a word that captures exactly what you mean. Fascinating versus interesting. Both work, but fascinating implies a stronger, more magnetic pull. "I found the documentary fascinating. I couldn't look away," is more vivid than "I found it interesting." Exhausted versus tired. Both are correct, but exhausted paints a more complete picture of depletion. "I was completely exhausted by the end of the day" has more weight and texture. Relieved versus happy. These are not synonyms. Relieved implies that there was tension or worry before. "I was so relieved when I got the call back" tells a whole story in a single word. Thoughtful versus nice. "That was such a thoughtful gesture" is richer and more specific than "that was nice." It says, you put real thought into this, not just goodwill. There's a meaningful difference. Resilient versus strong. She's incredibly resilient. She's been through so much and just keeps moving forward, is more vivid and specific than simply calling someone strong. Let me give you a practice set. I'll say a basic word and a richer alternative. Try using the richer one in a sentence of your own after I give it to you. Ready? Let's go. Basic, good. Richer options: exceptional, solid, commendable, impressive, effective. Try. The presentation was genuinely exceptional. Every slide was well structured, and the delivery was incredibly confident. Basic. Bad. Richer options. Disappointing, frustrating, disheartening, underwhelming. Challenging. Try. It was a really disheartening outcome, especially given how much effort everyone had put in. See how that carries more emotional weight? Basic. Think. Richer options. Believe, feel, sense, reckon, consider, suspect, gather. Try. I get the sense that something isn't quite right here, though I can't put my finger on exactly what it is. Basic. Say. Richer options. Mention, suggest, emphasize, note, highlight, point out, try. She was careful to point out that these were preliminary findings and not yet fully confirmed by the research. None of those replacement words are rare or obscure. They're all common, everyday English. But choosing the right one for the right moment adds a layer of precision that elevates your whole expression. Before we close out this episode, I need to talk about something that no phrase list or grammar lesson can give you, but is absolutely essential: the mindset of a fluent speaker. A lot of people think that confidence in English comes after fluency. Like, once I'm good enough, then I'll feel confident. But I want to flip that around entirely. Confidence actually comes first. A lot of people think that confidence in English comes after fluency. Like, once I'm good enough, then I'll feel confident. But I want to flip that around entirely. Confidence actually comes first. But when you speak with hesitation and apology, "Sorry, my English isn't very good," people sense that uncertainty, and sometimes it does diminish their perception of what you're saying. Confidence is part of the message. Now, I'm not saying fake it. I'm not saying pretend your English is perfect when it isn't. What I'm saying is give yourself permission to take up space in the conversation. You belong in it. Every person who speaks excellent English today was once a beginner. Every single one. They made mistakes, they misunderstood things, they froze up in conversations, and they kept going anyway. Here's a reframe for you. Mistakes aren't failures, they're data. Every time you say something incorrectly and someone gently corrects you, or you realize what went wrong, that's a learning moment. Celebrate it. Here's another mindset shift. Stop waiting until your English is good enough to start speaking. Your English is good enough right now. Good enough to practice, good enough to improve, good enough to connect. Here's another mindset shift. Stop waiting until your English is good enough to start speaking. Your English is good enough right now. Good enough to practice, good enough to improve, good enough to connect. Also, please be patient with yourself. Language acquisition takes time, real time. It's not a linear process. There will be weeks when you feel like you've leaped forward and days when you feel like you've gone backwards. That's completely normal. That's how learning works. The backwards days aren't setbacks. They're part of the process of consolidation. Your brain is integrating and reorganizing. Trust the process. Surround yourself with English, not just in study mode, but in life mode. Watch shows in English. Listen to podcasts like this one. Read in English when you can. Make it a part of your world, not just your schedule. And find your community, other learners who are on the same journey, native speakers who are patient and encouraging, teachers and creators who make you feel seen and capable. Community accelerates everything. Let's spend a few minutes on some of the most common mistakes English learners make. Not to shame anyone, but to shine a light on them, so you can course correct gracefully and feel more confident. Common mistake 1. Overusing the word very. Very tired, very good, very nice. In natural English, these get replaced with stronger single words that carry their own intensity. Let me show you. Instead of very tired, exhausted. Instead of very good, say excellent or fantastic. Instead of very nice, lovely or delightful, much more vivid, much more advanced. Common mistake 2, saying I am agree instead of I agree. There's no am in this structure, just I agree with that, or I completely agree. Short, clean, and grammatically perfect. Common mistake 3, using make when you should use do and vice versa. Make a decision, make an effort, make a mistake. But do your homework, do the dishes, do business. These are fixed collocations. The best way to get these right is exposure and practice, not memorizing lists. The more you read and listen in English, the more your brain naturally picks up which verb goes with which noun. Trust that. Common mistake 4. Speaking in present tense for everything. Yesterday, I go to the market. Last week, I see my friend. This is one of the clearest markers of a less advanced speaker, not mastering past tenses. Concentrate on using past simple naturally. I went, I saw, I felt, I made, I heard. It takes repetition. Practice narrating past events every day, out loud, until the past tense becomes completely automatic. Common mistake 5. Literal translation of expressions from your native language. Every language has idioms that don't translate. If you take an idiom from your language and say it word for word in English, it might sound confusing. The solution is to learn English expressions as they are, as whole chunks, not word by word. When you learn, "It's not my cup of tea," learn the whole phrase as a unit. Don't analyze it word by word. Chunk learning is actually one of the fastest routes to fluency. Instead of learning words in isolation, learn them in phrases and patterns. As far as I know, it goes without saying, if I'm not mistaken. These chunks start to feel natural and automatic much faster than words you tried to assemble from scratch every time. Build your chunk library and watch your fluency accelerate dramatically. All right, everyone, we have covered so much ground today. This has been a long and rich episode, and I am so grateful that you stayed with me all the way through. That commitment matters so much. Let me do a quick recap of everything we explored today so it all stays fresh in your mind and you can come back to the key points whenever you need a refresher. We started by redefining what advanced English really is. Not big words, but fuller, more expressive, more thoughtful language. Language that connects, not just communicates. We walked through morning scenarios, home conversations, emotional expression, idioms and phrases, professional language, small talk, polite disagreement, and so much more. We explored storytelling as one of the most powerful fluency tools. We practiced telephone and travel language. We talked about gratitude, compliments, apologies, and advice. We covered future planning language, personal development conversations, full dialogue scenarios, vocabulary depth, and, maybe most importantly, the mindset of a confident, advanced speaker. That mindset piece, I hope it really landed, because all the phrases in the world won't help if you're still holding yourself back with doubt, fear, or the belief that you're not ready yet. You are ready. The most important thing I want you to take away from today is this. Advanced English is not a level you reach. It's a practice you commit to every day, through every conversation, with joy and curiosity. Start with the practice strategies we talked about. Do the end-of-day recap. Try the one-sentence upgrade challenge. Shadow speakers you admire. Write your feelings journal. Practice conversation simulations. And above everything, speak. Speak even when you're not sure. Speak even when it's imperfect. Speak in the mirror, speak with friends, speak with strangers if you get the chance. Just keep speaking. Every word you speak in English is an investment in the version of you that communicates freely, confidently, and beautifully in this language. That version of you is closer than you think. I am genuinely rooting for you, not in a generic, scripted way, but truly, deeply, from one language lover to another. I know what it takes. I know the journey, and I know you've got this. If today's episode gave you even one thing you can start using in your life right away, then it was worth every minute. And I'd absolutely love to hear which part hit home the most for you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Whether you're on YouTube, you're listening on a podcast app, wherever you are, I read every single comment, and hearing from you genuinely makes my day better. And if this episode was helpful, please share it. Send it to someone who's working on their English. Post it in a group. Text it to a friend. Every share helps this show reach people who need it. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it right now before you leave. Every new episode is another step forward in your English journey, and I don't want you to miss a single one. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and definitely check out the podcast playlist if you want more episodes just like this one. It's all there, organized and ready for you. The link is in the description. Go explore. Keep learning. This is Lily signing off from another episode of the podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about this. Take care of yourself, stay consistent, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, keep speaking, keep growing, and remember, every conversation is a chance to be just a little more fluent than you were before. Go out there and make it count. See you next time.